Hello everyone, it's me, King Wire Murray. Today I will be fixing and updating a mini theory I had a while back. That theory being, we found Herman P. Zomboss. Now, in that theory I claimed that we had a painting of him which appears in some concept art, but that was incorrect. I now have evidence that changes everything about that theory and actually makes it simpler to understand. Herman P. Zomboss actually appears in other games outside of Garden Warfare 2, and believe it or not, is a playable character. That character is none other than our favorite scientist, Archaeologist. But before I get to the evidence, we better begin with the Archaeologist himself. This is the Archaeologist theory. We all know the good old Archaeologist, that rare variant of the scientist in the Plants vs. Zombies shooter games. He first appears in the first shooter, Garden Warfare, as a new playable character in the Zomboss Down DLC. Other than being a fun character to play as, he doesn't do that much, and this is the same for his second appearance in Garden Warfare 2. However, his sticker book description in both games gives us some details into his life. As his name suggests, he is an archaeologist, but not a modern one. In fact, he's really old. His sticker book description tells us that, on July 17th, 1893, he discovered the first ever complete Chomposaurus rex skeleton. On July 18th, he forgot where he left it. Now, this description tells us that he was alive. Yes, zombies in the Plants vs. Zombies universe are living during the late 19th century. His in-game description tells us that his close-range excavator fires gold, gems, and all sorts of valuable artifacts, implying that he stole treasure and artifacts, and we can confirm this from one of his weapon upgrades in Garden Warfare 1. The description for the upgrade, Expanded Treasure Bucket, reads, he is now filling his treasure bucket to the brim, increasing his ammo. And speaking of the excavator, the snakes on the front of the weapon resemble that of ancient Egyptian culture, which ties in directly with a sandstone statue of him that appears in ancient Egypt in Seeds of Time concept art. What does this all mean? Well, I'll get to that in a moment, after we talk about Herman P. Zomboss. Now, you may be wondering, who the heck is Herman P. Zomboss? What does he do? Why haven't I heard of him? And why does he matter? I can answer all those questions pretty definitively, but you have to let me get there. Okay, Herman P. Zomboss is the ancestor of Dr. Zomboss. Shocking, I know, but that's not the important information. Like the archaeologist, Mr. Zomboss is also a man of science. We know this from his appearance in Dino Land and Seeds of Time in Garden Warfare 2. A Whiz Facts Zine tells us that, in 1886, archaeologist Herman P. Zomboss discovered that volcanoes are indeed hot when he fell into one. From this piece of information we can tell that he was an archaeologist, he was a Zomboss, and that he is old. Like great-great-grandpa old. Now, sadly, this is the only information we have on Herman P. Zomboss, but do not fear as we can connect the dots. The archaeologist and Herman P. Zomboss are the same person, and here's my proof. Firstly, both are archaeologists, and they both were making discoveries in the late 19th century. Herman P. Zomboss discovered that volcanoes are hot in 1886, and archaeologists discovered the first complete Chomposaurus rex skeleton in 1893. That's only a difference of 7 years. Lastly, they are both oblivious. Mr. Zomboss fell into a volcano, and archaeologists forgot where he left the Chomposaurus rex skeleton. Now, this begs a few questions. Mainly, archaeologist looks nothing like Dr. Zomboss, and if the archaeologist is Herman P. Zomboss, then who is that painting of? Let me start with the first question, that being archaeologist not resembling Dr. Zomboss in any sense. Archaeologist doesn't have to resemble Dr. Zomboss because of genetic traits. We know that Uncle Boz is a distant relative of Dr. Zomboss, and that he resembles Dr. Zomboss remarkably. The absurd size of the head could be a maternal trait, meaning that the Boz family can carry that gene, and Herman Zomboss can look different while allowing Dr. Zomboss to inherit that trait. Now to the second question. If the archaeologist is Herman P. Zomboss, then who is the guy that I assumed is Herman? Well, to put it simply, I'm not certain. It's likely that the unknown Zomboss in that painting is Dr. Zomboss's grandpa. And this idea isn't too far-fetched either. We know that Dr. Zomboss loves fishing, and it's possible he learned to fish from that Zomboss, who is definitely a fisherman. However, you might still have questions, like what about the turquoise skull zombie and the banker Zomboss? Well, with the turquoise skull zombie, he does not resemble Archaeologist in any capacity and is simply a different character. With Banker Zomboss, I assumed before that he was Dr. Zomboss's grandpa, but now that we have an image of a character that fits that role, we now know that he is most likely Dr. Zomboss's dad. Now that we have all the evidence, let's update everything we know about the character. Herman P. Zomboss was born around the mid-1850s. Around the early 1880s, he got married, possibly to Grandma Zomboss named Boz, and had a son, President Zomboss. In 1886, he discovered that volcanoes are extremely hot when he fell into one. Sometime after this escapade, he made his way into ancient Egypt and stole a buttload of treasure and historical artifacts, erecting a sandstone statue of himself for his discoveries afterwards. On July 17, 1893, he discovered the first ever complete Chomposaurus rex skeleton, and on the next day, July 18th, he forgot where he left it. After forgetting the most important specimen of his career, Herman P. Zomboss disappears for 121 years. In the zombie invasion of 2014, Garden Warfare 1, Herman P. Zomboss came back to join his second great grandson in fighting Crazy Dave and his plant army. He continues fighting all the way into the end of Garden Warfare 2 in 2018, ending the wild life of Herman P. Zomboss, the Archaeologist. In the end, it goes to show that oftentimes the simplest answer is the correct answer. I do have some other theories and videos in the works, but I do not want to spoil those. So, in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this theory, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!